Good evening, friends. Namaste. Welcome to today's class on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Welcome, everybody. Let us take a moment to center ourselves, to straighten our spine, to raise our energy. Take a long, deep breath. And then let's just close our eyes, gaze upwards, smile to ourselves, be in this very moment, and invoke the presence of God and the Gurus. Let us say a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Bhagwan Krishna, Jesus Christ, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, Beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, Friend and Guide Swami Kriyananda Ji, Saints and sages of all religions, great sages Ved Vyas, Maharshi Patanjali, Adi Shankaracharya, humbly we bow and touch your feet. Beloved Lord, teach me to hear thy voice that commands all creation to be. Help me to hear that voice in the cave of my heart. Guide me through thy voice and call me to thine home. I am thy child, Father. Receive me. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us call upon the Gurus by singing the hymn to Brahma. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Brahmanandam Parama-sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana-sadrisham Tattvamasya-dilaksham Ekam nityam Vimalam achalam Sarvadhi sakshi bhutam Bhavatitam triguna-rahitam Sadgurum tvam namami Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva Tvameva bandhu cha sakha Tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam Tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama Let us interiorize ourselves and feel the principle of Ram and Sita, spirit and nature within ourselves. We, the infinite spirit, Ram, by the power of Mother Sita, creation, have come into being to play this role. Let us play it with love. Let's hear a few thoughts by Swami Kriyananda on love. One finds love not by being loved, but by loving. We can never know love if we try to draw others to ourselves, nor can we find it by centering our love in them. For love is infinite. It is never ours to create. We can only channel it from its source in infinity to all whom we meet. The more we forget ourselves in giving to others, the better we can understand what love really is. And the more we love as channels for God's love, the more we can understand that His is the one love in all the universe. Let us do the following affirmation. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. Mentally follow this prayer. O Infinite One, make me a channel for Thy love. Through me, reach out to sow seeds of love in barren hearts everywhere. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good evening and welcome again, dear friends. So for our story this evening, I will be relating to you some of the miracles that occurred in the life of our own Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda. These miracles are mentioned in the book, The New Path, and they are also mentioned in Swamiji's biography of Paramahansa Yogananda. So you can refer to these books. So I'll be sharing a few miracles this time and a few in the next class. We have heard most of them, but it's good to hear them again and again, because it is important that we relate to Master as a living presence and recognize that his miracles are happening in and around us all the time. And all we need to do is to be aware of his presence in our life, because as Master said, to those who think me near, I am near. So with that feeling, that bhav, let's listen to these stories from Master's life. So this is, the first story is how the fisherman found fish. And this is a story from Encinitas. And it's very amazing. Before I go into the story, I'll tell you, in 2014, I think we all went as a pilgrimage group to Ananda village and to Palo Alto and to all the shrines of Paramahansa Yogananda. So during that visit, we also went to Encinitas, which was the ashram where actually Master wrote the autobiography of a yogi. And it was Saint Lin, Rajarsi Janakananda, who built that ashram for Master as a surprise. And so Master used to be in that area. There was a temple in that area, and the house is beautiful. It overlooks the Pacific Ocean. And when the stairs going down the beach, and when you go down the beach, we saw a board a board means there was a painting on the board, and on that painting, there was this ocean, the waves were visible, there was a surfboard, and someone was surfing on that surfboard. And who was it? In the painting, it was Master. Imagine Paramahansa Yogananda in his orange robe on the surfboard, and that surfboard in the Pacific Ocean. That was the painting. And that beach after Paramahansa Yogananda is now called Swami's Beach. It's amazing. We had such a great, time. It was so, we felt very, very happy about it. And we were laughing. It was the mirth of Master that we felt looking at that painting where Master is, surfing on that surfboard. And the whole beach is now called Swami's Beach. And so this is the story I'm going to relate is from Swami's Beach. So Master used to go over in the beach to take a stroll many a times. So as the story goes, a boatload of fishermen in Encinitas came back to shore early one afternoon. Yogananda ji was walking on the beach and saw them. He didn't know the men, but he remarked, "You are back early, aren't you?" He asked. They replied despondently, "Yes, no fish." Master said, "Why don't you go out one more time?" Something in the way he spoke those words induced them to make one more effort. They returned from that final outing with a boat full of fish. And so grew the legends around this strange Swami who had so recently settled in their midst. Miracles were a part of Yogananda's service to others. He seldom spoke of them. But among those whose lives were associated with his, miracles were common. Rarely did he himself even refer to them. This story of the fisherman finding fish is exactly similar to the story in the Bible, in the New Testament, about Jesus. So in one of the parables, in fact, one of the incidents in Christ's life, it so happened that the whole night there were fishermen that were fishing in the Sea of Galilee. And when they came in the morning, their boats were empty. They had not caught even one fish. And at this time that Jesus reached that shore, and he asked them to take the boats back deep into the sea water. So when the fishermen said, "Oh, we are tired. We did the whole, again, the whole night we were fishing, but we haven't caught anything." Again, there was something in the voice of Jesus that they thought that, okay, let us go again. And this time when the fishermen went into the Sea of Galilee, they got so much fish that the nets were about to break, and they had to call upon their fellow fishermen to bring in their boats to help in the catch. So the similar miracle happened in the life of Yogananda. And as is mentioned that, he started to become famous in that area because of the many miracles that started to happen. In the same region, Encinitas and around the beach, so there was, there's another story. One time, a local real estate agent came to Master in Encinitas and asked for help. "My wife is very ill," he said, "and the doctors are beginning to despair for her life. Would you please come see her and pray for her?" Master answered, "I will pray for her, but God doesn't tell me to visit her at this time." Several days later, a secretary came to the Guru and said, "I just got a phone call. The real estate agent's wife died a few minutes ago. His heart is completely broken." Only at this point did Yogananda feel the inner guidance to go there. As he entered the house, he found it filled with grieving relatives and friends. When he asked to be shown to the bedroom, they made way for him. There, he asked to be left alone. He touched the woman on the forehead and over the heart. After some time, she opened her eyes, then finally smiled up at him. she was completely healed. Om, om, om. Just reading and listening to these stories, they trigger something in our own heart. And we know that, like that woman who has been awakened from her sleep of death, we also, sleeping children, have been awakened by Master when he came into our life, and he encouraged us to move towards God, and he interceded for us to God. He has introduced God to us. And if we pray to him, he will introduce us to God. Of course, God doesn't need no introduction. We don't need no introduction to God. But the Guru is such a priceless phenomenon in our life that without that grace, it is impossible to reach God, because the chasm between the little ego and infinity is so much that you need a God realized master to help you cross that big gap, which can transcend and go take us beyond the bridge of I, the little self, to I, the infinite self, God. So therefore, हमारे शास्त्र यही कहते हैं कि गुरु के बिना गति नहीं है, और गुरु हमेशा हमारे समीप हैं, वो हमारे अंदर ही हैं. And when somebody said to the Guru that you have done it, he said, God is the Guru. So yes, God, the infinite, is the Guru, but he sends someone in human flesh so that we can relate to him. And from there, because in his story also, he goes through the pains and joys of life so that he appears to be real to us. So all great masters, all great gurus, they play the human drama. They are all infinite in themselves. They have all realized their true self. But yet they choose to go through the pains and little joys of life to set examples for us, so that we may also, taking their example, be encouraged and inspired that yes, it is possible to realize that we too are walking, speaking, and loving gods. So with that, dear friends, let's come back to our study of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. In the last few sutras, Patanjali scientifically separated for us the difference between the drig and the drashta and the drashya, means the observer or the seer against the seen, the objects. And he classically tells us that we must, as yogis, we must learn to discriminate between the two. Do not combine, do not think that you, the witness, are the objects that you think about or are the people that you relate to. You are separate, you are the unattached self, and the objects of this world and the situations of this world belong to the realm of Prakriti and Maya. So by yoga practice, we can separate this. Then in the last sutra that we studied, Patanjali tells us about the 7 steps that when a yogi is advancing, then he achieves various levels, and these levels are 7-fold. And the 7-fold steps are as follows, just for revision. We'll do them. The first, the seeker has advanced to this level. So this is the first level when actually he attains samadhi. So from there he starts to free himself. So what we think is the first level is we sit to meditation, we are learning how to concentrate, we want to do hong saw, we want to watch the breath. So for us, that's the first step. But once you develop to the level, once you taste samadhi, and then how your life starts to change after that, these are the 7 steps for that. So first, the seeker has no need to know anything more because he has already known whatever there is to know in this universe. Second, the cause of all suffering having been understood, the suffering itself is gradually eliminated. Third, attaining samadhi, one finally eliminates every cause of suffering. So not only as the person does not, the soul does not feel suffering, there may be pain in his life, but he does not suffer because of that. But also he goes to the root of all suffering and is able to remove all cause of suffering. Step number 4, he attains complete discriminatory wisdom, requiring no further effort in that direction. And when we say complete discrimination, means at every point in time, he's able to separate the real from the unreal, the temporary from the permanent, means the true God from the illusory Maya and the world. Step number 5, the sattva guna becomes predominant in his mind. Number 6, the gunas fall away and he becomes triguna rahitam, and the chitta becomes calm. And finally, step number 7, only the self remains. So the Atman and the Paramatman become one. Okay, so sutra number 28. This sutra says, Yog anushtanad nidhi kshaye jnana diptiye avivek khyate. This means, as impurities are eliminated through the consistent practice of the limbs of yoga, a gradual illumination of knowledge occurs up to full illumination of discriminatory wisdom. So from this verse on, this sutra onwards, we are going to enter familiar territory. In our level 2 teachings, we did Raja Yoga, in which we talked about Yama, Niyama, Patanjali is Ashtanga Yoga. So this sutra is the sutra which kind of just lays the foundation for the upcoming Yama, Niyama, and so on. So in this, Patanjali is saying that as you practice the limbs of yoga, the impurities of the chitta start to get removed, and as they get removed slowly, the light within you, means the clarity of your discrimination, will start increasing from little to more to more to more, till the time you have developed the light of complete discriminatory wisdom. Okay, so Swami Vivekananda says in this, he says, now comes the practical knowledge. What we have been speaking previously was the ideal. So in fact, in the first chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is talking about Samadhi Pad. So there all the levels of Samadhi are described, the types of Samadhi are described. Then we come to Sadhana Pad, where he now describes how we are going to reach that state. Okay. Swami Kriyananda says, by the practice of the several limbs of yoga, impurities disappear and the light of pure wisdom and discrimination dawns. Next sutra, sutra number 29. You are all familiar with this. And in this Patanjali is saying, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, Ashtau, Angani. Means these are the 8 limbs of yoga. And what are these? Swami Kriyananda has told us already. These are Yama, which is the self-restraints, the denials, Niyama, which are observances, asanas is posture, Pranayam, of course, is the control of energy. Pratyahar is interiorization. Dharana is concentration. Dhyana is going towards from true absorption, actually. And Samadhi is complete oneness. So these are the limbs that are being given scientifically by Patanjali. Patanjali has delineated the stages through which each spiritual seeker must pass, regardless of his religion or path to God. Why has Patanjali used the word limbs for the stages? So Swamiji says his reason for that word is that even the first cannot be fully perfected until one has developed the others, including the last one. So what he's saying is, it's not a sequential series. You need all of them together. All of these have to be practiced together. It's not that first you will say that I'm going to practice the yamas, and particularly one yama, I will perfect that first, then I will go to the next yama, and then once my yamas are perfected, then I will go to the niyama. So we don't know how many lifetimes that's going to take. So it is limbs, because like a table stands on all its limbs and all the limbs are important. Therefore, similarly, the steadiness of our spiritual growth will depend on all these limbs, and all these limbs must be practiced simultaneously to whatever degree we can. And of course, the 8th limb, we should remember, happens spontaneously after the first 7 have been perfected. Samadhi happens spontaneously. Okay. Patanjali is not recommending specific practice so much as stages of perfection. He is not saying do this so much as be this. So actually, if we follow these limbs of yoga, why do we need to follow these limbs of yoga? Because we have moved away from our true nature. If we were to stick to our true nature, then we are already the Atmic self. But because we have gone away from it, therefore these limbs appear to be as practices that we must do. But actually it is like just being yourself. Although there are specific and different things one can do to achieve those states of being, the practices varying from one culture, religion, and one individual to another, the states being themselves remain unaltered. So whatever is achieved through the practice of this is actually unaltered. It's a steady thing. And we are given a directional practice because we have got lost in the maze which we call life. Sutra 30. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yama. So now he's actually labeling what are the yamas. So now we are on the first limb of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, the yamas, which consist of harmlessness, truthfulness or non-deceit, non-covetousness, continence, and non-attachment. In the path of right spiritual action, there are 5 attitudes to avoid and 5 others to cultivate, which are the niyamas, which will come later. Okay. All these attitudes must be understood primarily as mental attributes, not as specific actions. All the people who are present in class today are familiar with yamas and niyamas. Okay, so now whoever would want to contribute will tell me some thoughts about ahimsa. And please share what you remember of reading ahimsa, what it means to be non-violent, and what are the various levels of non-violence. Yes, Vijayji, please go ahead.
All I can tell immediately is this incident about the mosquito in the ashram that master had, and Yukteswarji told one line that you have already done that in your mind. So be aware about it. It is not the action. What is says it is in your in what you have already thought, and what that is what has impressed upon that ahimsa is something that what I am not doing physically. It may be a blessing, in fact, when I do action, actual violence, which may not be a violence, but it is all in your thought. Which is what very well defined there.
Yes, so basically harmlessness, it's an attitude of harmlessness. We do not want even in thought to actually injure or kill anything. We don't want to harm it. But again, Sri Yukteswarji points out that perfect practice of ahimsa is impossible on the planet Earth, because when we eat, we kill the plants. When we are walking, we probably kill so many small insects or ants under our feet. When we are driving, many insects kind of they move against the windscreen, they die. When we boil water, so many organisms may die. So perfect practice of ahimsa is not possible, but perfection in ahimsa is somewhere in our heart where we are completely in that zone where we do not wish to cause harm to anybody. But it is our duty to defend the human body, because something like dengue exists, something like viral diseases exist, then it is our duty to protect the body. We do not want that something should die, but it is our duty to protect our own existence. Why? Because on the ladder of evolution, spiritual evolution, the human body is much more complex and much more advanced, and has the ability to look for truth, to seek truth and find truth. And therefore, it will be a higher nature to protect the human body than to protect a mosquito, although we do not wish to harm it. Okay, yes, Ekta, you have raised a hand. What is it that you want to add?
I remember one thing from the class. It was that ahimsa not only
Please raise your volume, dear.
Am I audible? Am I audible now? Okay. So what I remember from the class, no. Hello, am I audible?
A little bit better, but it can be better if possible.
So, uh, So I remember from the class that ahimsa not only means not harming others, but also not harming ourselves. We should take care of our body, our spirit, our mind as well. अगर हम meditation से हमें खुशी मिलती है या किसी चीज से हमें खुशी मिलती है तो हमें वो करना चाहिए. We should not harm ourselves. So this is also that apart from others, we should take care of ourselves also.
Okay, yes. So non-violence and harmlessness, that includes us as well. So when we are practicing asanas, and we should not overdo, we should be kind to the body, we should understand the limits of the body. And in yoga, the beauty is that there is no competition, there is no need to compete with anybody, and you just listen to your body carefully and you work accordingly. And kindness to the body also comes while eating. How often do we actually listen to the body? We only listen to the taste buds, don't we? So we have to be a good listener. If we want to be kind to ourselves, and kind to ourselves means all faculties. That means being kind to the body by eating rightly, sleeping, exercising correctly, and kind to the mind by not allowing restlessness to come in, by not allowing ourselves to in the company of people who create restlessness and who take away your peace. So you have to be kind in all the ways. And of course, being kind to yourself spiritually means being in the company of the master, his teachings, and meditating, being in the company of God. So that is true kindness, because that is an uplifting kind of kindness that brings you to that higher truth. Okay, anybody else wants to add anything on ahimsa? Yes, Vijayji.
Yeah, only two thoughts. One is that in the battlefield itself, Arjun being guided by Krishna in the very, if you think that battlefield is full of violence, etc., that is one part of it. But yeah, I relate that again with what Master had, told about a madman, who is mad, who is going to kill many people. And what are you going to do? Are you going to sit? No, I will be non-violent. What is it that you are supposed to take action? I recall that incident, and I think that of course that's an extreme thing, but it gives us a very practical way of dealing with situations here.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, so Master said, actually Swamiji says that suppose there is a madman who comes to the village and he starts to shoot everybody. So would you just say that, okay, now we are going to be non-violent and so you can shoot everybody? Or are you going to have the courage, and you need to have knightly courage to actually stand up and stand against him, or maybe put him down, and then so that you can defend the rest of the people? So yes, sometimes the righteous war is necessary, as so many wars have happened previously, which may or may not be righteous. We are no one to decide for that. But as soldiers, it is a soldier's duty standing at the border to protect all the people who are behind him and relying on him to maintain their peace and integrity. So he sometimes will have to kill other human beings. But again, it depends on what is the attitude and what is the intention with which he is killing. Is he just murdering them, or is he just trying to protect his own citizens? So there's a lot of difference there. And the karma is decided according to your intention. So a soldier also kills and a murderer also kills. The murderer is put to jail according to human law. The soldier is given a medal according to human law. So the divine law is even higher, and it works with our attitudes, our intentions, and our emotions. Yes, Joy, you want to say something?
Yeah, when we talk about ahimsa, only one thing comes, that we actually giving love the quality to expand. We all need to use love as a greater tool to get ahimsa in play, because other things are okay in war and the things are totally different. As you say, the intent, that's a different war game altogether. But day-to-day life, we need to use the quality of love to expand and make it so that we can use ahimsa effectively.
That is right. So whenever you feel that urge comes in you for trying to harm others, bring the vritti of love inside in you. If you are feeling afraid for the other person and that fear is causing you to again be agitated and cause harm, again bring love. Whenever you bring in love, only love can cancel hate. Hate will never cancel hate. So love and ahimsa will be the only tools that will actually make your enemy into your friend. There is no other way. If you want to make friends with your enemy, then harmlessness and love is the only way. There exists no other path or doorway through which this can be made possible. Okay, so let's go a little further to what Swamiji says. To inflict one's beliefs on others is wrong. So again, ahimsa can happen at very subtle levels. So when you are inflicting your opinions and your views on others, you're also kind of being a little unkind and harmful to them. But to prevent others from inflicting their beliefs on you is sometimes you have to prevent that also. So neither are you to put your beliefs on others. You cannot impose them on others. You can only suggest. Similarly, if someone is trying to inflict or impose their beliefs on you, then also you have to righteously stand up and with a harmless attitude, but with a lot of courage and integrity, you have to stand for your higher principles. The war of Kurukshetra in the Bhagavad Gita is really symbolic of the inner war every human must wage in his own conscience between right and wrong. We must be firm in our principles and not allow anyone to weaken them. Everything in this world is relative. There are good, better, and best, and there are also bad, worse, and worst. The principle of relativity applies to the merits and demerits of actions as much as to the quality of things. The yamas cannot be sometimes applied absolutely. However, the important thing is not to wish harm to anyone. For it is the wish to damage, to hurt, or to cause suffering that is true sin. Even words, we should be very careful with words because even words can harm. Paired with harmlessness, of course, is the quality of kindliness, for as one ceases to wish harm, there naturally appears in the heart a feeling of deep benevolence for all. Okay, one final question regarding ahimsa. Why should we not harm others? Why should we not kill others? Very simple question, but a very deep question. हमें हार्मफुल नहीं होना है, हार्मलेसनेस का एटीट्यूड डेवलप करना है. क्यों करना है? ये तो गेम है. इसमें आजकल बच्चे खेलते हैं इतने सारे गेम्स जिसमें शूटिंग करते हैं, स्वॉर्ड चलाते हैं, बड़ा मजा आता है, उनको तो बड़ा फन मिलता है. टेररिस्ट को कितना फन मिलता है इतने सारे लोगों को मार के. तो हमें अहिंसा प्रैक्टिस करनी क्यों चाहिए? That is my question. Yes, Sandeep ji.
Because it's an action reaction. So if we are violent, so sooner or later we have to face it. If we love violence, then we can do it.
Okay, so yes, that is one. Yes, Vijay ji, you want to add?
It's one further to add is because you are the same person in the other. It is your own, it's the same thing. So how is it that it is different from that? On a spiritual plane, it is the same thing.
Yes, very true. So I've got both the answers that I was looking for. अगर हम एक ह्यूमन लेवल से रिलेट करें तो अगर हम लॉ ऑफ कर्मा को हम बीच में लाए और सही हो कि आई एम दिस ह्यूमन एंड this I'm living in this world which I feel to be true. So in this world, what is the physics and maths of this world? इसमें जो एक्शन होगा इसका इक्वल एंड ऑपोजिट रिएक्शन होगा. अगर मैंने कोई वायलेंस इनिशिएट की है तो वो एनर्जी घूम के इवेंचुअली किस पोस्ट पे आएगी? वो मुझ पे ही आएगी, वो और कहीं जा ही नहीं सकती. नहीं तो मैथमेटिकली कभी भी परफेक्शन पे या जीरो पे आएगी नहीं. तो मैं जो भी कार्य इनिशिएट करूंगी, whatever the cause of what I am, eventually that energy will go round and round for many lifetimes, or maybe just this lifetime, and then it will come back to me. So that is one way of looking at it, that if we are causing harm to others, it will come back to us. The second way of looking at it is a higher plane, is the spiritual plane, where we understand that the oneness of all humanity, where we understand that we are all actually one. We are the same source, the same God substance, and hurting anybody means actually hurting ourselves. So that comes with, as you meditate and as you start to feel that oneness, as you start to go beyond body consciousness, you know that you hurting anything or anyone in this universe is hurting your own self, because you are part of the large cosmic body. Okay, Anjali, you want to add something to this?
Not on a spiritual level, but on a human level. If we are on a path of attaining salvation, then it is what is needed is centeredness, peace, silence. But if we go towards violence, it will create that agitation, and we'll be pushed away and away from that centeredness that yogi seeks. So that is another perspective that I thought I should add.
Absolutely. So when we are violent to others, we're going towards the outside world, and the yogi is trying to unite his own self with the higher self. So he needs to come inwards. So one cannot be have both his feet on two boats which are moving in opposite directions. So if we want God realization, if we want perfect peace and enlightenment, then we should be in the boat that is moving inwards and upwards. And practicing violence would be against this law. Therefore, we must practice non-violence to the best of our capability and try to keep perfecting it further and further. Okay, so coming to the next yama, which is satya, or truthfulness or non-deceit. It means, Swamiji says, it means to be truthful not only in speech, but also in thought. Only beneficial truth should be spoken. Often it is better to remain silent than to be strictly truthful. Truthfulness is also accepting things as they are and not wishing that they are different. Okay, so again, all of us have studied this principle of yama of non-lying, truthfulness. Anybody wants to give their thoughts on this? What do you think? What is truthfulness for you? And have you been over the years to practice this principle of non-lying on this path? Many of present here are here for many years. So, and how has this changed your life? Anybody?
Om Guru ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yes, Rima.
Sorry. Yeah. Yes, a confession. Earlier, some years back, I used to, otherwise I'm a very God-loving and very honest lady, but I used to take out money from my husband's wallet every now and then. And it was sort of an understood thing. He knew that I used to take it out. And sometimes he used to say, nahi, nahi, why do you take out so much? You should tell me. Then I used to say, nahi, hum kyun batlaye? But now, of late, my moral values has gone up to such a level that I even if he says you take out money from my wallet, it is only after seeking his permission and bringing it to his knowledge, I take out money from his wallet. And in fact, every month I have made up my mind to donate money for charitable purposes. This I've been doing for the last 3 months, and the feeling is, I mean, it feels good. You feel connected.
Excellent. Thank you, Rima, for sharing that. And that's such an honest sharing. So what the lying that she talked about was like just obvious, but sometimes the lying is very, very subtle and we do not even realize it. But as she said, once you start to improve your moral values, you feel a sense of happiness inside. So why should we practice all of this? अगर झूठ बोलने से हमारा काम चल रहा है तो हम क्यों ना झूठ बोलते रहे, हम सच क्यों बोले? सच बोलना तो कई बार बहुत कठिन होता है, तो हम क्यों बोलें? क्योंकि again, as Anjali mentioned previously, we cannot be traveling on two boats which are moving in opposite directions. If we want God realization and if we know that God is truth and truth alone, then we cannot be in the direction where people are casually lying just for little things or big things. So we have to be truthful in our speech, in our thought. So it was only when her thought, when, as Rima said, when from the inside the calling was to be more truthful, that it came out into her speech and actions. It will automatically come by, it comes by the grace of the Guru, it comes by your practices of the meditation techniques. When you go more towards your heart, God is sitting in your own heart. And from there you are guided upwards in the moral ladder, and you feel happy by practicing moral values. So it's not that somebody is, holding on your throat and they're going to say, you better not lie, otherwise I'm going to kill you. No, it's your own heart that feels so relaxed that you don't need to lie anymore. Just by being truthful, you're relaxed, you are expanded, and you are happy. So we must practice truthfulness. Anybody else wants to share something on Satya, truthfulness?
There is a
I think, yeah, Dr. Saab, please go ahead.
sorry, there is a vow from Swamiji where he super higher consciousness vow, where he says, I vow from this day forth to be true to my higher super consciousness self, which I've actually started doing every day morning. So this is actually triggering that triggers also, and keeps you on line also, and this emphasizes that you be on this path truthfully.
Yes. So oaths and vows are meant to kind of, they're like an affirmation, and you can vow to yourself for, practicing truthfulness. And because it keeps you more, it reminds you of the higher truths and your direction that you're going in, and they keep you aligned. Your energy goes up. Yes, Vijayji.
Actually, this is one of the most difficult one of all the yamas, because you're walking on a very, very thin blade edge, especially in this world. That's why you always design some sort of a truthful sphere when you are with your own, and you are having, maybe it is, but that's why many people follow this Monavrat, not to speak at all, or speak very little. But in office or any other professional dealings, it does help to maintain this particular line of approach, because it gives you integrity and builds up the spirit for later any such negotiation and thing. But I can tell, it, Yudhishthir also had gone down that lane, whereas you have one extreme example of Harishchandra, who stands, the way he could, the test is always on the truth, and this has been the most toughest of all the yamas. Especially for me, I make a conscious thing that, okay, today I will rather, because it can create embarrassments. So you rather not walk into it, straight away into a trap when they know that you always tell the truth.
Yes. So yes, this is very correct, that it's like walking on the sword's edge, but being truthful helps a lot. And a little everyday example from my own life. So somebody was actually, one of my seniors was trying to tell me that, you have to do these duties this way and that way and that way and that way. And so I could have just said, okay, I will do it, just to make things at peace at that time, and say, okay, I'll do it, and I'll come and do these things like that and so on. But I said no. The first thing I said I don't mind being bad in your opinion. You may think right now that I am being bad by saying no to your suggestions, but the truth is, if I say yes to you now and then I start to cut corners, then I will be questioning my own integrity, and whatever conversation that we are having right now will have no validity. So it is okay. And then I just said, I am going to be truthful, and the honest answer is that I cannot go by these guidelines that you're giving me. I will do in this way, which is also the correct way, but just to look good in your opinion, I am not going to follow this. I will stay by these principles, which are also correct. And I basically stood by with my guns, and that person just accepted. And ever since that day, we have had a very good relationship, because that person then knows that you are speaking from integrity and a point of honesty. आपको किसी को प्लीज करने की जरूरत, ज्यादातर लोग लोगों को प्लीज करने के लिए बोलते हैं, या उनकी नजर में अच्छा बनने के लिए झूठ बोलते हैं कि हाँ मैं कर दूंगा, हाँ मैं आ रहा हूँ, फोन से अभी घर से चले भी नहीं होंगे, हाँ मैं तो पहुंचने वाला हूँ 2 मिनट में. क्यों ऐसा कर रहे हैं? ताकि दूसरा को बुरा ना लगे, या दूसरे पर्सन सोचे कि ओहो ये तो बड़ा पंक्चुअल है, इसीलिए कर रहे हैं ना. कितनी झूठी फाउंडेशन है ये, कितनी शैलोनेस है इस फाउंडेशन में. हम ये छोटे मोटे झूठ बोल ही क्यों रहे हैं? और अगर हम किसी और ह्यूमन को प्लीज कर रहे हैं और अपने हार्ट को ही हर्ट कर रहे हैं, या हम भगवान कि ट्रुथ से हम कहाँ बच सकते हैं, हम नहीं बच सकते। तो इवेंचुअली वही हम कार्मिक साइकिल क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, जहां हम एक फॉल्स एनर्जी घुमा रहे हैं, अपने आप से निकल रहे हैं। वो जब तक आप तक नहीं पहुंचेगी, जब तक और लोग आपसे डिसऑनेस्टी से और लैक ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी से नहीं बिहेव करेंगे, जब तक आपको वो पेन नहीं होगा, तब तक ये सारा कर्म खत्म नहीं होगा। सो द सिंपलेस्ट थिंग इज, एंड ये मुश्किल नहीं है, you just don't have to lie. We are truthful souls in ourselves. We are a soul, we are the atman which is ever perfect. We are made of truth. हमें सिर्फ इतना करना है कि हमें झूठ नहीं बोलना है। अगर हम झूठ नहीं बोलते तो हम ऑटोमेटिकली एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन ट्रूथ हैं, और छोटी मोटी किसी भी बात के लिए भी नहीं बोलना। और स्वामी जी तो उस पॉइंट तक जाते हैं, वेरी सेज बी ट्रूथफुल इन थॉट। जिस दिन उनके माइंड में ये अपने आप को वो प्रॉमिस करते थे कि ओके यू नो टुडे आई विल गो टू द मार्केट एंड गेट द न्यूज़पेपर, जस्ट अ सिंपल एग्जांपल, ही सेड आई वुड even if I did not need the newspaper later, but because I had committed to myself in a way to fulfill that, he would definitely finish the action. So once the thought has gathered some energy and momentum, if you fulfill that in action, then that energy circuit is closed, the karma action reaction is closed. Now hardly do people realize this in their life. So therefore it is important that we purify our actions, that we purify our speech, and we purify our thought. हमें through and through हमें truthful होना है, because we are made of truth, we must abide by it. And simple आज से हम सबका ये simple भाव है कि कोई बात हो जाए हम झूठ नहीं बोलेंगे, और सिर्फ ऐसा करने से हम ऑलरेडी ट्रूथफुल हैं। एंड इसका दूसरा एंगल क्या है जो स्वामी जी कहते हैं, ट्रूथफुलनेस इज एक्सेप्टिंग थिंग्स जस्ट एज दे आर। तो जब हम विश कर रहे होते हैं कि काश ये कुछ और होता, काश ये कुछ होता, तो हम ट्रूथ को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं। ट्रूथ ऑफ दिस सिचुएशन इज कि ये जो एनर्जी पैटर्न है मेरी लाइफ में, ये पर्सन ऐसा है, ये पर्सन ऐसा है, ये चैलेंज ऐसा है, ये एज इट इज है। द बेस्ट थिंग वुड बी टू एक्सेप्ट इट जस्ट as it is. This is an attitude of truthfulness towards life. And how does this help? Once we accept things just as they are, only then we can train our energy and train our mind to improve it. So therefore truthfulness also happens at various levels, and as Swamiji said, in speech we must speak truth only if it is beneficial. So चुप रहना कई बार बेहतर होता है। भगवत गीता में श्री कृष्ण ने क्लियरली क्या है कि स्पीच के जो है वो 3 कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होने चाहिए। सबसे पहले तो वो ट्रूथफुल होनी चाहिए, सेकेंडली वो बेनिफिशियल होनी चाहिए। तो अंधे को अंधा कहना को बिल्कुल भी बेनिफिशियल नहीं है, इसलिए चुप रहिए बेहतर है। तीसरी बात, वो प्लेजेंट भी होनी चाहिए। तो अगर आपकी जो वॉइस है वो सिर्फ कंटेंट इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, आप किस टोन में बोल रहे हैं, किन शब्दों का आप प्रयोग कर रहे हैं, वो सारी चीज इंपॉर्टेंट है। उसकी वाइब्रेशन क्या है, बिकॉज अगर आप प्यार से भी बोले लेकिन आप सार्काज्म, कई बार सार्कास्टिक कमेंट्स बड़े सॉफ्टली दिए जाते हैं लेकिन वो दूसरे को उतना ही हर्ट करते हैं। सो बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल with what you are saying, and human word has a lot of power in it. ये बात हमने ऑटोबायोग्राफी ऑफ अ योगी में भी पढ़ी है। और जैसे जैसे आप एक इस पाथ पे एडवांस करोगे, आप जानोगे, आपको समझ आने लगेगा कि आपने जो चीज बहुत कन्विक्शन से बोली थी ना, वो सच हो गई, चाहे वो अच्छी बोली थी चाहे वो बुरी बोली थी। मैं तो अपने आसपास कई बार ऐसा पाती हूँ। Then I realize if something bad happens and I tell myself, oh, did I think it like that? And it does happen. Just observe. Just bring it to your awareness. All these things are happening around you. It is your own energy. All the energy pattern around you. You are the center of that. आपके आसपास जो हो रहा है, कहीं ना कहीं वो एनर्जी आपने इनिशिएट की है, चाहे थॉट में इनिशिएट की है या स्पीच में या एक्शन में। सो बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल। द योगी इज अवेयर ऑल द टाइम। जो लोग कैजुअली सोचते हैं कि हाँ हाँ कोई बात नहीं, तो उनकी लाइफ भी फिर कैजुअल होती है, वो फुल ऑफ मिजरी होती है और उनको समझ नहीं आता कि उनकी लाइफ में क्यों हो रहा है। अगर आप अपनी लाइफ का मास्टर बनना चाहते हो, इसीलिए गुरु को मास्टर इसलिए बोलते हैं कि बिकॉज एब्सोल्यूट कंट्रोल होता है उनका अपनी बॉडी पे, अपनी थॉट पे, अपनी इमोशंस पे, अपने चित्त पे, अपनी पूरा कंट्रोल होता है। यदि हम उस डायरेक्शन में जाना चाहते हैं, सो वी माइट एज वेल बिकम अवेयर ऑफ व्हाट वी आर डूइंग, व्हाट वी आर थिंकिंग, व्हाट वी आर सेइंग। इतना तो हमें करना ही होगा और तभी हम परफेक्शन की तरफ बढ़ सकते हैं। Okay, coming to the next yama, which is asteya or non-covetousness. This means not to want anything that is not yours. Enjoy things, but without personal attachment to them. So वो रेडियो सिटी हॉल के एग्जाम्पल इस बारी ज्योतिष देवी जी ने भी दिया था। तो वो मास्टर गए एक बार रेडियो सिटी हॉल, वहां शो था, उन्होंने टिकट खरीदी और जब तक उनके पास टिकट थी और वो शो था, उन्होंने उस पूरे एरिया को अच्छे से एंजॉय किया। और फिर जब शो खत्म हो गया, he just threw the ticket and he said, okay, now it goes back to the owners. Till the time I had the ticket, I fully enjoyed the place, but there is no sense of possession. और हम लोग क्या करते हैं, सपोज हम किसी फंक्शन में जाते हैं, वहां पर एक पर्टिकुलर टेबल पे और पर्टिकुलर चेयर पे हम बैठ के खाना खा रहे हैं या किसी से बात कर रहे हैं, और सपोज हम कुछ और लेने गए या किसी और से बात करने गए, वापस आए और वहां चेयर पे कोई बैठा होता है तो हम कहते हैं, ओह ये तो मेरी चेयर थी। तो क्या ये सच है कि वो मेरी चेयर थी? नहीं थी, मेरी तो वो थी ही नहीं। लेकिन हम इतने अटैच्ड हैं इन छोटी छोटी चीजों से कि हमें लगता है मेरा है, जबकि मेरा कुछ भी नहीं है। और नॉन कोविटसनेस तो बिल्कुल ही, आप ये एटीट्यूड डेवलप करने से कितना फायदा होता है, ये आगे पतंजलि कुछ आगे सूत्रों में बताएंगे कि ये जब आप प्रैक्टिस करोगे ये चीजें और इनमें परफेक्ट हो जाओगे तो फायदा क्या मिलेगा। बट दिस इज अगेन, वी शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ आवर थिंकिंग, कि कुछ भी हम कहीं जाते हैं उसको अपना समझने लगते हैं और एक पल में समझने लगते हैं। This is a problem with us, which we need to detach ourselves from various things, and everything belongs to everybody. This is God's world. All people belong to him. All the wealth of this universe belongs to him. All the elements, the air, the water, everything belongs to everybody. We are only tenants here. We are only, travelers. We are visitors. We are pilgrims. हमें उसी attitude से जीना चाहिए. When you see things in this world that please you, you should not wish to possess them personally. Enjoy everything with the joy of God. The positive side of non-covetousness is the awareness that you already are everything. When you know God, you will become one with all there is in all existence. The next yama is brahmacharya or continence or non-indulgence. So a brahmacharya means an acharan which is in tune with Brahma, with truth. Guruji said that sex is the greatest delusion. From sexual desire proceed all the outward direction of one's energies, and therefore all the involvement in other delusions, desire for wealth, for mind-numbing alcohol or drugs, for fame, power, all the mighty host of warriors for evil, which are described in the Bhagavad Gita. So it says, and why? Because it is one of the main sources through which one's energies go down and out. And therefore it causes you further to get enmeshed in this world of delusion. Sex completely involves one's thoughts in outwardness. But the sense of touch, when transmuted, becomes the realization of God's bliss in all space. Sexual self-control is indispensable on the spiritual path. It creates a vital store of energy in the body and enables one to direct that energy upward toward the brain. Men, especially, who achieve self-control become mentally brilliant. Those who are not able to achieve total control should try to be as moderate as possible, gradually withdrawing the mind and energy and redirecting it to a higher level. The positive side of continence is that it helps one to love all mankind, men and women equally, as your own in God. In marriage, continence increases the love between man and wife. To gain the full benefits of continence, one must be completely continent for at least 12 years, which is one entire life cycle of the cycle of Jupiter around the sun. And in the Raja Yoga course, Swami has also explained that non-sensuality or brahmacharya does not only include non-sexuality, but it also means non-indulgence in all the senses. So if you are indulging too much in taste, too much into hearing rock music, too much into fragrant smells that take you towards delusion, so overuse or misuse of any sense organ is necessary on the spiritual path, for the simple reason that we do not want to waste the available energy in the outward world, but we want to use that same energy to go inwards and meet with God. So very, very simple and scientific reason. And we must try to be moderate in all our sense management in this world. The final yama and the final thing for the class today is aparigraha, or non-greed or non-attachment. This has many times in Swami Vivekananda has also translated it as non-receiving of gifts. So इसमें स्वामी जी ने clarification दिया और हमने राजा योगा में पढ़ा था. This is more of a non-greed and non-attachment. और स्वामी जी ये भी बताते हैं कि गुरु जी गिफ्ट्स रिसीव करते थे. Of course वो उसमें उनको personally नहीं लेते थे, but he never wanted to hurt the giver, and he wanted to give the joy of giving to the giver. So again, there is a fine balance between taking and allowing, giving to others, and being open to receiving with love. But vibrations, कौन सी वाइब्रेशन से, कौन से इंटेंशन से कौन क्या दे रहा है, एक योगी को धीरे धीरे इस बात का अवेयर होना पड़ता है. इसमें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें देने और लेने में ये हैं कि उस पर्सन ने जो आपको वो गिफ्ट दे रहा है, उसने वो पैसे कैसे कमाए हैं जिससे वो गिफ्ट आया है. सो बी वेरी केयरफुल. People underestimate, people take it casually. Master को पता था, master knew the karmic balance of everybody who came to him. So he would be very careful. But for us, we don't realize. Therefore, some saints say कि non-receiving को एक policy बना लो, so that all the mixed vibrations coming from God knows where, they do not come to you. So you have to be very, very, sensitive to this. So अगर आपको by chance, many people are there in corporate, so अगर आप clear कर देंगे कि आपको gifts नहीं चाहिए, so आपको शुरू में, again you are doing this, sometimes you're just pleasing others, or sometimes you feel aha I deserve it, मैं तो इस post पे हूँ, मुझे तो gifts मिलेंगे ही. लेकिन you have to be discreet, you have to decide for yourself. दूसरा person किस intention से वो gift लाया है, उसने वो जो पैसा use किया है, वो उसने किस means से कमाया है, वो प्रेम भाव है कि नहीं वो गिफ्ट देने में, यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल. वो सारी एनर्जी आप लेके क्या करोगे, उसका आप इवेंचुअली आपको उसका भरपाई करनी पड़ेगी. सिमिलरली इन गिविंग, अगर आपने किसी चोर लुटेरे को या को कमजोर समझ के आपने उसको पैसे दे दिए और उसके बाद उसने उससे नाइफ या रिवॉल्वर खरीद लिया और उसके बाद उसने किसी को मार दिया, तो देन दैट कर्मा विल आल्सो कम टू यू टू सम एक्सटेंट. यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल. Again, most people lead lives in sleepwalking. They do not know what they are doing, why they are doing. They are very casual about everything. Giving and taking should also be, you should do it with sensitiveness, you should do it with awareness, and offer. If you don't know the source, you can offer it to God, and you can be discreet about non-receiving gifts. Okay, so of course Guru Bhais have of the same frequency, they are from the same Guru, and kind of know that each other are coming from pure vibrations. So sometimes when we share Divine Mother gifts at Christmas or at other times, we know the source, we know the intention, and we know the love. So that is okay. But otherwise, when corporate gifts are coming, be very, very careful. And again, you should not be attached and be greedy towards them. You should not demand that because of your position and post, you should be given gifts. This is wrong. The whole purpose of not receiving gifts is to strengthen one's non-attachment. This yama is a mental quality, not a specific outward act. The positive fruit of non-attachment is complete inner freedom. Non-attachment is not considering even what is yours to be truly your own. One good practice for developing this quality is to give away freely to others anything of yours that they may covet. So the example, master की बाइक उनके फ्रेंड को बहुत पसंद थी, उनके फ्रेंड ने कहा कि ये मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगती है, तो मास्टर फटाफट से चाबी लेकर आया और उनको पकड़ा दी. स्वामी जी भी कहते थे, स्वामी जी said that I like to shop for good things, but I'm not attached to them. So I finish that karma and that energy of buying good things, but I immediately give them to others. So I don't keep it for myself. I need this. This is mine. Nothing is mine. आपको अच्छा लगता है कि आप सुंदर पेंटिंग्स खरीदें, सुंदर चीजें खरीदें, और आप उसको अफोर्ड भी कर सकते हैं, तो आप लीजिए, लेकिन उनको बांटने में share the joy, share that love, and of course it will be multiplied. And don't be attached to them. Feel that whatever you possess is yours only on loan from God. It isn't really your own. The next big question is, what about your children? Master says them too. They are on loan from God. They are not really your own. God has sent them to you, and God will take them back again when He chooses. If a child of yours were to die and to be born next door, the chances are you wouldn't even recognize him or her. Next question, what about your spouse? What about your other relatives? Love will certainly draw back to you all those you love now. So there is no loss. If you love somebody impersonally and deeply, Master said that when you go to astral planes, you meet all the people, all the friends, all the relatives that you loved, you meet with them again. No, nobody is lost forever. And there are so many of unusual people that, and it's amazing to think, we cannot even contemplate actually, that fathers, mothers, spouses, brothers, sisters, children of multiple lifetimes, you can meet in astral worlds. But you connect them with your heart. You don't get confused in that world that, oh, which was my husband or which was my wife and which were my children. You all love them with the love of God. So Swamiji says, love will certainly draw back to you all those you love now. But in the long winding path of countless incarnations, you really have only one true friend, God. Cultivate your friendship with Him. And as Jesus put it, all these things shall be added unto you. With this thought, dear friends, let us pray together. Let us share the power of these teachings. Let us take one moment to pray to the great saints, to great gurus, to God, to help us to practice these yamas, to understand them at their various levels, to give us the strength, the willingness, and the grace that we may perfect ourselves in these yamas. And with that strength, we may share our love with all others. Let us pray for all. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Oh. 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 Divine Mother, may Thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken Thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.